everyone. Welcome to our another Human Relations Council event. My name is Davisani Gill. I'm the East Brunswick Human Relations Council member, also known as EBHRC. The Human Relations Council is a council appointed by Mayor Brad Cohen. The main focus of EBHRC is to plan events that promote diversity, tolerance, acceptance, and inclusion across the township of East Brunswick. Our Coffee and Conversation series has been going on for a couple years now, where we tackle various issues from bias and stereotypes, combating mental health, ageism, anti-Asian, racism. We also had a series where we brought in some community helpers during pandemic. Today is our first in-person Coffee and Conversation event after hosting many virtual Facebook Live sessions since pandemic. All our prior recordings are on our Facebook Live page, on our East Brunswick Human Relations Council Facebook page. We are thankful for being able to host an in-person event today. Talking about being thankful, I'd like to introduce today's topic, gratitude. We are all grateful for something in life. I'm grateful for my family, for my eyes to be able to see my kids, for my ears to listen to them, and my arms to hug them. To talk a little more about the topic, I'd like to introduce my fellow council member, Holly Sarami.
Thank you, Davi. So as Davi said, today we are going to talk about gratitude and what do we have to be thankful for. I'd like to welcome our four panelists. We have Michelle Wilson from Elijah's Promise. We have Kaila Boulware-Sykes from Hidden Gems Literary Emporium. We have Jackie Guas from the East Brunswick Volunteer Fire Department. I'm sorry, that's backwards. And we have Shannon Pullaro from the Monmouth Council of the Boy Scouts of America. Welcome to all of you, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask each of you if you could just do a quick introduction of yourselves, tell us what organization you're with and what role you play in that organization. We'll start with you, Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Wilson. I'm the Executive Director of Elijah's Promise. About the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So Elijah's Promise is Central Jersey's largest anti-hunger organization. We're best known for the Community Soup Kitchen, which is based in New Brunswick, which serves now over 375,000 free meals a year. Awesome. We also have a culinary school job training program. We have social services, and we're now mobile. And we actually have our mobile food truck, which is set up in East Brunswick every Tuesday. And we use food as a tool to change lives.
That's great.
I like that. That sounds good.
Kaila, tell us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kaila. I'm one of 3 co-founders of Hidden Gems Literary Emporium. The other co-founder is my husband. The third is our 2-year-old son. And we're a family-owned nonprofit community bookstore located in New Brunswick, New Jersey, 55B Moore Street. The funny thing about being here in East Brunswick now, which Holly knows, is that East Brunswick really helped us get going when I do remember that was over a year and a half ago. Helped us as far as when we had no books, getting us bookshelves, getting us furniture. I mean, Holly and your son's business were a huge help as well.
Moving everything.
Yes, right. And so we run a donation-based bookstore. We provide reading, writing, and public speaking programs for ages 1 to 100. We say 1 to 100 because for young people, we want to encourage them to fall back in love with reading. And same thing with adults, through the pandemic. And this is our first time back, so it's funny that we're talking about this. But through the pandemic, you could see how literacy rates amongst children are have just dropped. So our philosophy is to use fun, encouraging programs to convince them to pick up a book again. And so, that's who we are.
Thank you. Shannon?
Shannon Pullaro. I'm a volunteer with Boy Scouts of America. First as a troop leader, an assistant scoutmaster with Troop 501 of East Brunswick and South River, but also at the council level, Monmouth Council, I serve as an adult advisor for youth in their National Youth Leadership Training, which is a course for youth to learn how to lead, learn the skills to lead, skills that I actually teach in college to youth, but also I'm an adult leader within our Order of the Arrow, which is the honor society within Scouting. The organization, many of you might be familiar with, it's all about youth development in character as well as leadership. And we empower scouts to learn how to plan and execute a variety of things, from leading fundraisers and other service projects, or even plan trips and have fun at the same time.
Thank you.
I guess I'm up.
Yep.
You're up.
Yep, Jackie, it's your turn.
All right. Jackie Guas. I'm one of the lieutenants with East Brunswick Independent Fire Company, District 2. So aside from providing fire protection to the town, we are one of 3 districts to do so here in East Brunswick. We are completely staffed by volunteers, and we not only provide fire protection to the town, but in recent years, especially pre and post pandemic, it's very important to us to make sure that we are doing a lot of community outreach. So you will see us at a lot of community events such as EB Day, especially in the schools during Fire Prevention Month.
Thank you. So I think I'm going to, before I ask the next question, take a moment to kind of do a little personal aside, because I'm very involved in a lot of things in East Brunswick, and I guess to some degree with all of you. So just to kind of stress the importance of what everybody does. Recently I was watching Jeopardy, and I had to quickly call Michelle on the phone because a graduate of the culinary school was a contestant on Jeopardy and spoke about Elijah's Promise and how the cooking school there took her from being homeless to being employed to being, not Jeopardy, Chopped, I apologize, right, on Chopped. She was a contestant on Chopped, and it took her from being homeless to being going through the culinary school, being able to live independently and support herself, to being a contestant on Chopped.
Wow.
So it shows how important not just the feeding is, but the culinary. And Kaila is so dedicated that she called me today to say, I need to bring books. Who's coming? Is there an audience? So she's really making sure that everybody reads. And I mean, it's so obvious how important reading is. And scouting has been very close to me. I also was a scout leader. I was Thunders and Eagle, and it's such an important way to teach children values and ethics and to get along with everybody. It's an inclusive program that really teaches everybody how to get along. Same ideals that we have in EBHRC and the fire department. I think it's self-explanatory how necessary you are, although we all don't worry until we need you. And we all hope and pray that we never need you,
Yes.
right? You're the one that nobody ever wants to see, but in a good way.
I hope to only
So-
see you in good situations, not in that you actually need us.
That
Yes.
is definitely our hope.
I have to
Okay.
just say that Elijah's Promise, we love seeing the fire department because I feel like this is sort of universal because they're always there for us. From like when it snows and they help us shovel, you know what I mean? If we got large donations to unloading, so it's like, it's just, they represent the best of everything that we do. So, so we do love seeing the fire department.
And that's a good way to see them, right? So I would like to ask each of you to tell me exactly what it is you do for the organization and why you do what you do. Let's go the other way. Jackie, we'll start with you.
Sure. So I wear multiple hats. Like I said, it goes beyond just the fire protection piece of it, right? You know, we have several committees within the fire department, just like any other organization has. And so I'm responsible for our membership, for recruitment retention. We also hold events for our members. That's part of the retention piece. We want to make sure that we do get to interact with each other, something that's outside of a fire scene that's not as stressful. So, you know, we work really hard in that community piece that I was talking about earlier. We want to make sure that people can put faces to the people behind the rigs, right? Because most of the time when you're seeing us, it's because you're in a situation, unfortunately, that you need our help, or you're in distress. And so it's very important us to work closely with the township, with Mayor Cohen and his team, and then, of course, working with the school board as well. It extends beyond just fire prevention. So, you know, if a class or preschool class wants us to come in for career day, that's something that's not always scheduled, right? And so they call us and they ask us to come in along with members of the other fire districts as well.
Shannon?
All right. So I'll focus on one of the hats. Like Jackie, I wear many. And one of those hats is as an adult advisor for National Youth Leadership Training, or NYLT. And there's probably 4 or 5 adults that help every year. And we meet with the youth that are actually trainers for the younger youth that come in and lead this leadership training for even younger youth, all within the Boy Scout program, actually Scouts BSA. We do have young ladies as well in BSA at this point. And so what my role is as a coach for the trainers. And so empowering them to not only give good feedback. They give feedback the way you want adults to give feedback, sandwiched with what is working well, what could be improved, so that way they could get ready for a week-long resident, meaning they stay and camp out for a week. Yes,
Wow.
I camp out for a week and a half for that, plus lots of weekends.
I've done that.
Yes, yes, I bet you have. But it's really important because this is the root of what we do in BSA. It's about making future leaders. And so we give our time so they can become good leaders in the future, good citizens, and empower others to learn those skills.
Kaila?
This is always one of the hardest questions when people ask, so what exactly do you do? And so we're a very small team. It's on a day-to-day basis. It's literally just me and Ray in truth. So we do everything. We develop the programs, we execute the programs, we run the bookstore. So we're booksellers, we're delivery drivers. Because, for example, last week we had a book order of, it was over 200 books to 13 different educators across the state. So we literally spent 2 days delivering books. We do all of our own marketing, all of our own fundraising, our own advertising. So the question was, what exactly do you
But
do?
tell us a little bit about the book tour you did where you get out the books.
Oh, okay. So that's the funnest hat that we wear.
Right.
Every summer we do a 1,000 free book tour across the country. So we go from New Jersey to Florida. This summer we're going from New Jersey to California, giving away 1,000 free books and educational resources. And even though, you know, there's a lot that goes into the fundraising and campaigning aspect, but it always comes together the way that it should. And the smiles that you get when you just meet someone random, like, oh, look, I have this free book for you. And it's usually always exactly what the person wanted. Like, it would just be like, oh, I was just looking for this. And, you know, our tagline is to spread love through literacy. And so that's just one of the many ways that we do that. But yeah, when you have a small team, you kind of do find yourself doing multiple things. But my dad used to always tell me this saying. He's been in business for over, I don't know, longer than I was born. But he used to always say, if you love what you do, it never feels like work.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just, you know, going back to gratitude and thankfulness. We're thankful that we are able to do this work because it doesn't even feel like, it just feels like fun.
And do you have any kind of program in New Brunswick where you give out books regularly?
Yes, every day. You can come by 55B Morris Street. We have a free little library situation set up. Inside, we're donation based, so we want to do our part in making sure that money does not stop people from having access or the option to books or educational resources. So some people come in and they're like, you know, I only have this $1, and we're like, well, thank you for the $1. Take as many books as you want. Some people come in, they take one book and they'll donate $100. So, you know, it always comes back in some way.
Michelle?
So like everyone else, I wear multiple hats and every day is different. Big picture wise, you know, I spend a lot of time with, you know, supporters and getting more volunteers and communications, fundraising, but there's never a quiet moment in the kitchen and other places. And so if, you know, they're short on the line, you jump in. I'm not really very good in the kitchen in terms of chefing, so I take the instruction from our chefs if things need to get done. And there's just, you know, always something different happening. And that is one of the great joys is we're in the community. We try to do whatever we can to reach more guests and reach more people. And so that takes you out to a lot of different places, and you meet a lot of really great people and different people every day.
So now we're going to go to the really most important question. Well, I guess we didn't really answer completely, so I'm going to kind of put this together. I want you to tell me what you're thankful for in terms of what you do, but really what I wanted you to answer in the last a little more is how do volunteers and donors make it possible, like, for you to do what you do? So I guess combine those two ideas, you know, what is it you're thankful for, and how like, because I think all of you could not do what you do without some sort of donors and some sort of volunteers. So tell a little bit about what they do for you and why you're thankful. We'll start with you, Michelle.
Sure. So, we are thankful every day. And when we think back, even, before the pandemic, we were serving about 10,000 meals a month at the soup kitchen, and now we're serving over 30,000. And those are that's only possible because of the incredible kindness and support of the community. It's from volunteers and donors together, the powerful combination who make the work possible. It's from everyone from we had a Girl Scout troop the other day who showed up. They baked at home, and people who donate hygiene kits and snack bags. And then there are people who come with trucks full of stuff, right? So it's whatever everyone can do that makes the work possible. And honestly, with nonprofits, you need the donations, right? The donations are what allows you to keep moving forward. Yeah. And so if we didn't have donors who sponsored meals, who donated food, who did all these different pieces, we wouldn't be able to do the work we do every day. And you asked what we're thankful for, and I think that really we're thankful for kindness, because kindness is what has allowed us as an organization for over 30 years to never close our doors and miss a meal serve. In over 30 years, we've never closed. And we know when the elements are at the worst, we're needed the most. We know people won't eat if we're not open. But that only happens with just incredible people who make that happen, who the fire department who came and would plow, shovel us out, our incredible staff who gets to work, and the volunteers who, no matter what, still show up and support us, and the donors who make it possible.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know you guys were open that long and never closed your doors. That's a very powerful statement. And Ray and I, my husband, when we were in college, we used to volunteer there. I think everybody. At some point, everybody. But yeah, and even just being here in East Brunswick with you, Holly, talking about volunteers and donations, people from East Brunswick literally offered up their house to help us store hundreds and thousands. This is before we had a storage unit, before we had anything. And it does go back to what you just said, kindness, and how far an effort, like forget Hidden Gems or any of our organizations as a individual, but how far we can all go as a community when we just put a little kindness into, the fire department, the Boy Scouts, books, food, all things that are very essential for survival and the empowerment of the youth, especially with what you do.
They're the future.
They really are, and they're always going to be. And so, we're also very grateful and thankful to all of our volunteers and donors. We were in a situation recently, only a couple weeks ago, where we almost lost our storage unit. Our storage unit has over 30,000 books in it from people across the country. Everyone has that collection of books that they don't want to throw away, but they don't have room for. They're like, where can I pass this down to? And there's people who trust us with these gems because they know that we'll distribute them to the right place. And we almost lost it, and the community, everyone came together and saved the funds for that unit. And it's just a small act of, like what you said, the power of volunteers and donors and how they can keep these organizations going.
So I'm just going to stress a little more. How you said 30 years you never closed your doors. Really how impressive what you did is, because a year and a half ago, I remember you saying we need bookcases.
Yeah.
That's how basically you needed everything.
Yeah.
Not only did you need someone to store the books that you collected, but you even needed the bookcases to put them in.
We need everything.
You literally needed everything. You got a space in the art gallery that they were kind enough to give you, and from literally nothing in a year and a half, you have a project where you have all these books, all these donors, and are going across the country and spreading this idea, hopefully that it'll catch on in other places and not just be something that's being done here. It's amazing that you've never closed. It's amazing what you've done in a year and a half.
Wow.
I think it's amazing what each of you do. So give yourself the credit for that, because
I'll try. It's always hard to do that.
I know, but it's a year and a half, and you went from looking for bookcases to this.
I'll call Holly like, does your son have a table in his truck? Because her son does the do not throw it away business. So thank you for saying that, Holly.
Okay.
So, and this is a word that Kylie, yes.
Kaila, yeah.
Kylie said before, I'm very thankful for community. Community and the feeling and the sense of community has gotten us through so much in the past couple of years. To be present in person is a beautiful thing. So,
Yes,
and I'm
it
grateful
is.
for being asked to join this panel. But that community is often with the help of all those volunteers. BSA wouldn't run without volunteers. And that is from the level at the packs, the little cute Cub Scouts that we see, to the troops, and we even have an older group of adventurers that they go up to age 21. So that community is basically developed with all of these volunteers. We do have some staff as well at the council level, but the majority of the people doing the work, working with the youth or supporting the youth, are volunteers. And ways that we could get additional help. I mean, we the easiest way for anyone to help, and I don't know if I'm allowed to answer this question yet, but I know it's really important that you know, being a merit badge counselor at the troop level, for whether it's a hobby, it's a career path, or something that you're passionate about, is a way to excite that passion in a youth by being a merit badge counselor. And you're all probably familiar with that program. They're everything from fitness related to health related to law and medicine to just basic skills like cooking and kayaking and what you name it. There's probably a merit badge for it. 136 to be.
So I'll just explain a little bit what that is.
Sure.
Because in order to become an Eagle Scout, you have to attain a certain number of merit badges. And those merit badges can't be attained without the help of a merit badge counselor. And even though you said there are paid at the council level, everything done on the local level, everything done directly with the Scouts is all volunteer. And the merit badge counselors are a necessary part, or they cannot attain Eagle Scout. So it's counseling them through the subject that they pick to get that merit badge to help them work their way up toward being an Eagle Scout. And it's not really being a volunteer in scouting on a regular basis. It's a one-on-one or sometimes a small group with Scouts looking to attain a certain badge.
Sure.
So-
And there are also ways to donate, especially at the council level. We do have a beautiful camp right in Manalapan that particularly the Cubs go to, but that's also where we hold our National Youth Leadership Training every very end of June, early July, for a week. And we also take donations to build programs. We also have another camp up in Forestburg, New York, that our scouts from this area go to in the summer, and actually throughout the year. So it's just a great program, again, all about developing good human beings into good citizens, good leaders as well.
Jackie?
Well, I'm going to start off by saying, I think on a personal level, I'm very grateful for my family and my village. To do what I do, especially on a volunteer basis, takes a lot of people, a lot of moving parts, and I couldn't do that without my family. A lot of the times that pager goes off and you have to get up from the dinner table, or you're leaving some sort of birthday party or family event, and so I am very grateful for the people in my life who allow me to do this, especially as a hobby, I guess. On a professional level, I am very grateful for this community. They are very welcoming. My fire department is very welcoming. We are pretty inclusive, and I know that that's not always synonymous when you think about an organization such as a fire department, but we are, and I'm grateful for them for allowing me the opportunity to step into this role, grow into this role. And right now, we only have fire-related volunteer opportunities within the department. We hope that in the future we can extend that to non-fire related, maybe get some people in to assist us with some admin things that perhaps we don't have time to do because we all have full-time jobs and families and kids. But I'm also very grateful for the people who donate, and I may get on my soapbox just a little bit because we talk about where our taxes go, right? And the elections for fire commissioner and for our budget for the year happens sometime in February, and I know people are constantly looking at this number. It's a couple millions of dollars, and just to put into perspective, a brand new rig is upwards of $1 million plus. So you think about that, that's most of the budget gone right there, right? And the gear that we wear to go into an incident is a couple $1,000s. Some of our tools are several hundreds of dollars, and I'm one person. So you multiply that by however many active members we have, now that budget's gone. So it's definitely the community, the people who come out and not only support us by, sharing our things on Facebook or coming to our events, but definitely even donating when they can, because those $20 from several people is going somewhere. It's keeping us safe. It's also keeping us trained and protected. And so I am very grateful for the community at large, and especially the way the town just continues to support us.
And how many separate fire companies are there in East Brunswick?
There are 3.
So each of them needs their own equipment, each of them needs their own volunteers,
Correct.
Each of them needs their own turnout gear, equipment, personal equipment, everything, fire trucks.
Exactly.
So when you say it could be $1 million for a rig, it's not one, because each fire company needs their own rigs.
Right. So each district operates under their own budget, similar numbers, right? But you figure my district has 3 firehouses. District 1 also has 3 firehouses. District 3 has 2 firehouses. Each of those have multiple apparatus. They have multiple members. You're talking 20 to 30 people within each organization. So you start to do the math, it builds up pretty quickly. And all of a sudden that line item, that budget that you're seeing, that you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. In theory, it's not. It goes very quickly, and it's not because it's a frivolous spend, right? It's to keep us safe so that we can keep you safe.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask the question?
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is my son who loves fire trucks, my 2-year-old son. I'm asking this for him, really. So do you remember how you felt the first time you walked into a fire?
Yeah. Do you want a story?
Sure.
Well, I don't know how much time we have, but I would love to know what it was like.
Okay. I may get in trouble for this one, but I'm going to tell it anyway because
Okay.
it's interesting, and a lot of the folks in my department know this.
Okay.
My first fire was about a week and a half, 2 weeks after I had finished academy, and I had just received my state cert the day before.
Wow.
And we had a fire about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, over in Nelson Circle, I believe. And ironically enough, I was also newly pregnant, had not gotten a positive. So we joke around that my daughter, Madison, that was her first fire. And so
that's crazy.
now, in hindsight, it's funny now, 5 years later, when I first started telling this story only a couple of years ago, they were not very happy that that's a choice that I made. So like I said, luckily nothing happened, and she is Earthside with us, and that's fantastic. I being a little bit wiser and older now, I don't think I would make that decision again. But it makes for a good story. So I was very nervous and excited.
And
Wow.
What made you decide to choose going in this direction as your volunteer? I mean, so let me say this. Everybody here has something in them that makes them want to volunteer. It makes them, or I know you're not solely a volunteer, but makes them want to work with an organization that has volunteers that does this outreach kind of work. Everybody's work is kind of an outreach work to the community. And I think what you said about thanking your family is not said enough. I know a lot of times people would come to me, I did a lot of volunteer work, I still do, and say thank you very much for what you do. And my first answer would always be, you need to thank my husband. Because if my husband did not let me do this, I could not do what I do. And I think a lot of times thanking the families is definitely something that is not given enough credit, because nobody could do what they do, like any of you, any of us, without families that supported us doing that. You know, going out, like you said, for a call, or going out for a meeting, or going out for a scouting event. You know, any kind of volunteer work or any kind of work with needy always involves that extra time, and you need family support for that. So thank you for bringing that up. But what made you choose to go in that? So like I started to say, there's something in everybody here that makes them want to do volunteer work, that makes them want to give back to the community, that makes them want to help others. But what made you pick the fire department as your direction?
Well, it was something that I always wanted to do. I'm an inner city kid who, moved to the suburbs 10 years ago, and most people don't know, but across the country, you're looking at 60 to 70% of fire departments are volunteers, some combination of thereof. And so I've always had this sense of volunteerism kind of like ingrained in me. My parents were avid volunteers growing up, whether that was coaching me in whatever sport it is that I wanted to do, or helping within their community. So when I moved here, I said, I want to give back. And so I was coaching at the rec level, even though I didn't have any children in the sports programs. And so for me, I took this opportunity as a way to give back, but also kind of fulfill this dream that I've been holding on to for a while. And, you know, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for all of it. I don't think I would have had this opportunity if it weren't for some of the people within the fire department, but also my support system, right? My people who said, you can do this. Sometimes it takes a lot of convincing to get us to take that first step, right? As I'm sure you all know, especially you started something 1.5 years ago, and that's just that's amazing, you know, and there's so many people, so many things that are this driving force behind what we do and how we do it. And so I really just want to stress that every single one of you who have listened to me rant and rave about many things over my last 7 years in the department, I am very, very thankful, because I'm sitting here in this position because of those people.
And Shannon, what made you, did you become a scout because you had a child who was a scout, or did you have a child who became a scout because you were interested in scouting?
So it's a very good question. It started really with my son. My husband knew from the start that Cub Scouts and beyond would be what DJ wanted to do. And DJ, who is an Eagle right now, and his younger brother is on his way, it was the selfish way to start giving back. I didn't know anything about scouting. I wasn't a scout myself, but I started that way. And then I really liked it, and it was fun. And it was exciting because before I knew about scouting, I had a passion for coaching people. I was in management in my work career. Eventually, I stopped working in corporate and went back to school, started teaching and things like that. And now I teach college level because I really do love coaching people and helping them see a better way. So in a different way, giving back because people helped me to achieve in school, and school was really, really important to me. My kids don't feel that way, but one day they will, I hope. But really, as I got involved in a number of different ways, it was not just for my own kids. I came to meet and love these first little kids and watching them grow into good humans, good, capable humans with so much potential, and that's really rewarding.
Knowing you have an impact on how they turn out.
I hope so, but really just watching their growth is just so rewarding.
Did you volunteer other than this, or was this your first foray into
So
volunteering?
no, I've been involved. My faith also drives me a lot. I sing for my religious organization,
So
and that
you've
was
done
my
other-
first foray probably in volunteering. Probably also did stuff with a soup kitchen when I was a kid. Now I actually have a connection with Elijah's Promise with Chef Curtis. We had him coach us to one of my classes to introduce this whole issue of food insecurity to my economics students and talk about ways to promote awareness and the like, to make people not only know what the problems are, but also what are some of the remedies. So it's just been a blessing to be able to give back.
I'm going to ask a semi-personal question because you answered it. Did your parents volunteer?
My mom did what she could. It was hard for her. My father was a police officer,
So he gave to the community.
so he gave to the community in that way, and he was Marine. So
And the reason I ask that is because Jackie said she had parents who volunteered, and I think a lot of times kids learn to give and to be thankful for what they have. And I think part of when you're thankful for what you have, you realize you need to give to others because you are lucky to have whatever it is that you have, and therefore you feel that kind of almost an obligation to give to others. And I think when you have parents that ingrain that in you, that have that thankfulness and that feeling to give back, like you said, your parents volunteered also. I think it's learned, and Truth obviously has learned it from the time he could breathe.
Yeah.
So I think that is passed on to children, and that then they learn to also be thankful and to give when they have parents like all of you who teach that lesson to them. So I think that's a very important thing. So I guess both of you answered the question about how you can help. So if you have anything you would like to say about how people could help other than donating books, donating money.
Keep us in your prayers, please. Small kindness goes a long way. We love when we get messages or phone calls, or when we were going through the storage unit situation, someone with no return address sends us a message in the mail, and it was just a card with the clipping of the newspaper that said auction. It said my name, auction, book, storage unit. And then it was a card that said, act like what you do makes a difference, because it does. That was it. No name, no anything. But that, whoever that person is, I hope you're from East Brunswick and I hope you're watching this. But whoever that person is, it really, first of all, put a fire under our butts. And it's like, we can't feel defeated. I don't care what they say, we have a week left, 2 weeks left to pay it. We can't feel defeated because there's people out there who depend on the work that we do. And you never know how much the work that you do impacts people, sometimes until they tell you. And so, what can people do? Just please tell people about Hidden Gems, your family-owned nonprofit community bookstore. Tell people about our effort and what we're doing. Visit our website, hiddengemsliteraryemporium.com, for more information about how you can help. And that's really all we ask. You know, sometimes it's hard. You know that you need help, but then when people ask you what kind of help you need, you're like, I don't know. Where do I start, right?
But all the help.
Yeah, but you know, that's pretty much it.
And this is not your first foray into volunteering either, because you worked with Treehouse Cares, right? You did Treehouse Cares.
Yes, we've done that for several years. So, and that started with Ray and I just on a Thanksgiving around this time, years ago. We were just like, there's so much food. We need to just go out and see who's hungry. So we did. We bought little meal things. Ray went to culinary school. He cooked. I helped, you know, do something. And we packaged it up, and then we just went out and passed out food. And then, long story short, we get connected with Treehouse Cares, which is a great nonprofit based out of Newark, and we branched them out to New Brunswick. So we run a food distribution program every Sunday in New Brunswick. And it's been great. There's so many people, as I'm sure that you know, that depend literally on that food every week for groceries, or every day for breakfast or lunch or dinner. And, you know, it's a really humbling experience.
Makes you thankful for the food you have.
Makes you thankful for everything. Yeah.
Well, we're an organization that depends on volunteers in every possible way, from the traditional volunteering of coming into the kitchen to help prep food and serve, and we have that's all online. People can sign up at our website. They can make things at home and bring them. We've got hygiene kits and snack bags, and so there's a lot of traditional volunteering opportunities that are there. But I would definitely encourage people to think out of the box. And some of our most profound and altering, organization altering volunteers are people who have taken the talents that they have, the professional talents, and helped us. So, for example, we have a volunteer graphic designer who has done our graphic work. So when we had our new food truck, she designed the truck, and she wanted to have the feeling of a cool hip food truck where you were happy to come and get a meal. We had a gentleman recently who was retired from Johnson & Johnson who was an amazing photographer and came on site and took photos of our guests and printed them out and came back. And for a lot of our guests, that was the first photo they ever had of themselves.
Oh, wow.
And so people have, we have people who've come and, come and done music on site. And so everybody has these sort of talents, and there's just really great ways you can use them. And sometimes people are like, I don't really know what to do, but trust me, you can find something. The volunteer people who sit on boards, and sit on advisory boards. So these people are key to the whole nonprofit field. If they didn't do that kind of work, we couldn't exist. So so on our website, it's very laid out different kind of volunteer activities. But I would just encourage everybody at home, especially at this holiday season, to think wow, I do have this talent. I could do this. And we've had people bring us fish. People fish and do different kinds of things and put into the emergency food system. So. Everybody's got something. If everybody gives a little bit of something, it makes a huge difference.
That's right.
And all of you spoke about what you're thankful for, but I'm sure that all of the people whose lives you've touched, if they could talk about it, would talk about how thankful they are for all of what you've done. Being thankful for what we all have, we pass that on by all of what we do, and allow all of those people to also be able to be in a position to be thankful. So it's really great, and you guys are a representation of much more of this, thankfully, in East Brunswick and surrounding towns. Is there anything else any of you think you would like to add that we haven't touched upon?
I'm going to add to the scouting thing. So Shannon is one of the reasons, and Farhad is one of the reasons why we are involved in scouting. And yeah, because when we met her, the way she talks, the way she influences is amazing. And my son, we started this Cub Scouts journey with him since he was kindergarten. Now he's in 5th grade.
Wow.
And I started out as a regular mom, nothing like, no background, nothing. And like you said, like after your son joined, you enjoyed it, so I kind of enjoy it too now. So I'm wearing like 7 different hats at this Cub Scouts Pac 501 level. And today I'm a committee chair there. Who knew when I signed up my son in kindergarten that I would be a committee chair for Pac 501? Nobody knew. Like, I was like, never.
There's a joke that it's an hour a week.
Yeah,
But they-
yeah,
but-
yeah. That is a joke.
But they don't tell you it's per kid.
Per kid. Yes.
But so that's an example, though, of how your influence,
She touched.
right?
Yeah.
And now you have become someone who can pass
Now-
that thankfulness on.
Yep.
Thankful for her helping you, and then passing it on to others.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's okay.
An hour a week. But I think that hour a week line, I think Scouting started it, but I think it's true in almost all of these positions, right?
All
no
the
hour a
positions, I
week.
would say, yes.
Yeah. So, Nikhil, I'm going to pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Holly. And I have to say, this is such an incredible insight into the community we have here, and I feel grateful that we have such amazing people in our East Brunswick family that are represented here today. And so before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that while this has been such a great representation of the opportunities that we have in East Brunswick, we'd all encourage you to take a look at, other opportunities that exist within the community, because if there's something that you're passionate, I'm almost guaranteeing that there's an opportunity to help out in East Brunswick and or in surrounding communities. I'd like to thank all of our wonderful panelists, not just for taking their very valuable time this evening to join us, but also for all the incredible work that you do. I'd like to thank Davi and Holly and Nusrat, who helped put this event together, as well as the rest of the East Brunswick Human Relations Council, who have continued to support the Coffee and Conversation event series. I'd like to thank EBTV, which has been a great friend of the council in helping us distribute this to the rest of the community. I'd like to encourage you to reach out to us on Facebook and Instagram at East Brunswick Human Relations Council. And once again, thank you all for being here tonight. And I hope if you're watching out there that you take an opportunity to get involved, especially as the holidays roll around. It's a great time to give back to the community. So thank you all so much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.